Avi Meyers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Marty done moved. Don't forget that one of the things I do in my spare time is I put out Jewish Chicago's before elections, and we're getting closer and closer to the election. And as usual, I plan on having as full a judicial section or fuller than anybody else in town. And as evidence, we're doing, actually, during today's shoot, we're doing 3 different shows. Of the people coming, there are 6 judges, 1 person running for judge, and a judicial blogger, and then we had just 1 normal citizen. Well, actually, not so normal, but a citizen. In any event, and people want to know, do we prep people? Should you send your resumes? Everything else. First of all, I want to thank Michael Strom, who helped, get my next guest. But you know what? I never met her before a few minutes ago. I don't know anything about her background. I even thought she was a sitting judge. She's not. So we're going to find out together, okay? I'd like to introduce you to Karen O'Malley. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you, and thank you for having me today.
My pleasure. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
I grew up in the city of Chicago and in the southwest suburbs of the city, lifelong resident here. I went to the University of Illinois in Urbana and graduated there in 1985. Immediately moved to the north side of the city and worked for Chicago-Kent College of Law, where it was then that I really confirmed my conviction to go to law school. So I went to law school at night, did that and graduated in 1992 and joined the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, where I worked for 16 years. And I worked in the State's Attorney's Office in a number of different units.
That's under Dick Devine?
I started under Jack O'Malley.
Oh, okay.
And started under Mr. O'Malley, and I'm not related to Mr. O'Malley. That was just a coincidence. And then worked for Mr. Devine and left right before Anita Alvarez came into office. Probably not good timing on my part. But I worked in a number of units through appeals, juvenile, spent a number of years in the narcotics unit, and this was pre-9/11, so back in that day I was doing a lot of the trafficking cases of drugs that were coming through our airports and through the train stations. And then was working in the felony trial courtrooms at 26th in California. So the bulk of my career there was spent at 26th in California. The last 5 years that I worked in the office, I was a deputy supervisor of a unit called the Child Advocacy Division. And that division is designated to work with cases regarding children who are victimized by child sex offenders. And adult sex offenders, of course, but the children were the victims. So I was a supervisor in that unit for 5 years. Then I went out into private practice, where I've been for the last several years, working with the law group of Levin Reback Law Group, representing injured workers and those who are injured through the negligence of others. In addition to working, for the last 15 years, I've been a teacher of the law.
Oh, wow.
First at DePaul University's law school, where I taught evidence, and I was the assistant director of the moot court program, all in addition to my work. And then went on to teach at Northwestern's law school, where I teach trial advocacy and coach teams there, and have been doing that now for almost 9 years. And I also taught at the University of Illinois at Chicago in their undergrad criminal justice program for a number of years as well. So I've had a busy 15, 20 years.
Yeah, it's a lot of academics. There's no question about it. So so what made you decide you wanted to be a judge?
Well, about 10 years ago, living in the courtroom is essentially what I was doing as an assistant state's attorney. My career has essentially been spent either in the courtroom, deciding if cases should be charged and go to a courtroom or should be brought and go to a courtroom, working those cases up, trying them or resolving them, and then working on appeals, which is the review that's done by the appellate court after the trial courts are done with their work. So I've done a number of appeals as well. And I really appreciated very early on in my career the very important role that the judiciary plays in the lives of citizens every day that come before them, the litigants that come before them, and not just the litigants, but their families and the people around them. And the role of the judiciary is so incredibly important and requires not only an excellent knowledge of the law and an ability to apply the facts that they're hearing to the law to make rulings, but it also really requires a great sense of fairness and an even and good temperament. And I think that those are all qualities that I possess, and so I really began trying to prepare myself about 10 years ago for this journey of trying to get to the bench.
Have you been rated by any of the bar associations yet?
I've been rated by a number of them. I've been in front of them all. I haven't received all of my ratings, but the Chicago Bar Association and all the bar associations I've received my ratings from have been recommended or qualified.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the good part.
Yes, it is.
I didn't figure Michael Strom was going to bring anybody here who wasn't qualified.
Well,
would you, Michael? He's shaking his head. Okay, so, you know, I kind of knew this a little bit from our I pick up on things too quickly sometimes. But do you know what position you're going to run for at this point, or?
I'm running countywide. I do not know which race at this point I will be in. By the time this airs, that will have been decided and the filing will have been done. So
to explain to people, a lot of people file for more than one particular vacancy.
Not anymore. The
Well,
law.
no, but in other words, you're right. Yeah, the law changed, but you get petitions for multiples, and then you're going to look and see, like, well, there's 3 women in this race, so that's not good for me. Oh, there's 2 other Irish people here. That's not good. Oh, there's no Irish women in this one. Maybe me.
That's some of the factoring that comes into play. It would be dishonest to say anything other. There are some other factors as well, but it does make a difference in Cook County.
The other factors would be things like, is this a strong candidate? Is this a weaker candidate? Is this somebody who's entrenched in the system or who's politically backed? And
all of that can come into play, although looking at the field of candidates that I know of and those who are appointed and sitting, I can't say that there's a weak one among them.
Now, countywide, you've got to get a whole lot more signatures than for sub-circuits. How many do you need?
Yes. You need approximately 2,400 good signatures to get on the bench. So or to get on the ballot, pardon me. To do that, you need to get about at least 3 times that number is what I've been recommended to bring in to make sure you have the 2,400 plus.
But are you allowed
signatures.
to submit that many, or is there a limit on how many you can submit?
There is no limit on how many you can submit in a judiciary race.
Right, because they did change that in some of the other races.
Yes, they did.
So yeah, it's a smart thing to get that many. Definitely is. Well, Jim Nally, who's our favorite election lawyer, is a frequent guest on the show.
I know Jim.
Jim's a great guy.
Yes, he is.
And by the way, Jim will be on about a month from now, so we'll get him updating us on all the various judicial stuff. So it's definitely going to be countywide. And what are you doing in the meantime to campaign? And you have people working for you getting signatures?
I do. I'm very lucky. I have an extended group of friends, family, and former students actually who volunteered to help me do that. So
Very nice.
It is very nice. It's really quite a compliment, and I take it very as such that they've offered to do that. So there are a lot of people who have been working very hard since September 6th, which was the first day of circulation, to get my petitions out there, and they're doing an incredible job. I'm doing it myself as well.
Cool. Well, no, you almost have to. I mean, that's a lot of people don't realize what you're going to one person at a time to get, and they've got to live in the county. They've got to be a registered voter. You know, does it matter if they're a registered Democrat or Republican when they sign the petitions?
You're supposed to be a registered voter who votes in the Democratic primaries.
Right, and of course in judicial races there are no Republican candidates as a general rule.
Not countywide. In some of the sub-circuits there are.
Right, especially in the western suburbs. Do you have a website? Is there a place people can contact you and check you out?
I do. My website is www.o'malleyforjudge.com.
www.o'malleyforjudge.com. I want to thank you very much, Karen O'Malley. Good luck in the judicial process. I guess we'll find out soon enough what you'll be running for. And, all the best. Take care. Good luck. And thank you, Michael.